We're in the course analysis screen, and I'm going to give you a tour starting from the upper left, across, and then down. We reach this screen by clicking on the course analysis. There's a second screen that's involved with this particular course analysis screen called the course analysis portal. And what that does, this is the portal, it takes individual records one at a time and shows them individually. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We'll cover that when we get to the portal. So starting from the top, we have the menu options that are available to you. And on this screen, the video you're watching was opened by the course analysis video help. Now this is a button, so you click it and it'll take you to YouTube and play the video that you're watching. The next thing is the Do Action button. This is a navigation button, set of buttons that are used to work within the application. One of the things that I did on this particular view is I eliminated the top of the screen by saying Show Hide. And what Show Hide does, it hides the menus. This application is designed where you do not need the program menu, either on the iPad, Mac, or PC versions for Windows. You can use all the stuff that's in the actual design and buttons to navigate. As you can see here, there's a thing called Enter Find Mode. What that allows you to do is when you click on this button, it will empty the fields at the top and in the portal. Now understand that you cannot search in the portal. You have to go to the actual individual portal record to do searches, but you can use the same interface here in that screen to search through the different records. The next one is if you click in the Do Help, you can actually go ahead and type any part of any field. For example, if I typed Udemy and course, it would still find Udemy course. Now if we're looking through the entire application database and all the records, each lesson has its own course ID, or the course itself has an ID. What happens, you put the title in and a description of the application that your course that you're working on, and it's a very short description, just basically what the course is about. You can actually do a find on these fields up here by the dates and also by this information. That's using the Perform Find. Once you enter the find mode, you'll see a bunch of magnifying glasses on the fields, and then you go ahead and click into a field, add your data, and then click Perform Find. The next thing you're going to see is the Show Hide menus, which I said moves up and moves down the menus. And I don't recommend you using those menus because you can do things in those on the program menus and buttons and icons that are not intended to be done in this application. For example, new record. The only time you put a new record in is from this interface where it says Do Action. You do not add new records if there's no record button in here for Add Record. So that's a good thing to know. The only screens that have this button are the primary or parent screens. And there are parent screens and then there are child screens. This portal is actually created using a portal screen, which is a child screen. This is the main or parent screen up here on the top. If you have any questions about that, you can always contact us and I'll explain it further. The next thing is Go Next. What this allows you to do is to move the entire record to the next record. So if I did this in this screen, it would take me to the next course design, which would be the analysis screen in the very next course. And then it would have that course's name and so forth. You can have as many courses in this database as you want to create. So you can have one to the number of courses. When you create a course, you can do a find in this particular field up here, which you cannot enter right now. When I clicked on it, you see it goes away. You cannot click in this unless you're in the find mode. So you have to enter the find mode, type in one or the course name or both in order to find that course when you say Perform Find. Okay, next in prior record. Prior record allows you to go to the record or course record in the IDs before this. Of course, if you're on number 1, you can't go backwards because there's nothing less than 1. Go to prior record, omit a record. Now what omit a record allows you to do is typically when you're in a record situation like this and you want to do a find, but you get a selection of records. What that means is when you do a find in this field, it only shows that particular record. If you wanted to omit this record and show the rest of them, you would say omit it, and then it would send it away. And then you would say show only omitted, and it would show all of the other records minus that one. And this works on any screen where you have data that is not part of a portal, because you cannot do this in portals. You have to be on something like a parent screen or a list view or a table view in order to minimize the amount of items that are shown on the screen. Or when you do a find in a list view, it'll only show you the particular record that you did the find and perform the find for. If that's confusing, like I said, you can always contact us. We'll explain that. Then show all records. If you do a find, you may, next time you look for a record, you might not see it, especially in a list view or a table. What you need to do is say show all records, and it'll bring them all back again. So for example, if I'm in a list view, which we're going to do later, I'll show you how that works so you can see how it works. Okay, in this screen we've already presented that the course title and course description are in here. The next thing is the day you start the course date you finished, the date that it went into review, and the date it was actually released on the Udemy site. Now the next thing we're going to cover is the portal itself. In analysis, when you're doing an analysis, and that is under ISD, what that pertains to is you're going to, as an instructor or a team of people that are doing the course, are going to look for all the relevant information that's possible to find before you do a course. This may be maybe a user guide for something, or a manual, or a technical document, a website that includes the information about what you want to do, a book. So it's any kind of media that's out there that can present information to you. Or if you're an experienced person in that field, you would put information in the fields that was relevant to the analysis. Now, with an analysis, you do everything. You get as much information as you can possibly find. In this particular case, I've given you example stuff about the ISD model and how we're actually doing the course, so you can get an idea of how this is used. What I do an analysis topic first when I create a new record, and in this case it's about whatever I put in the task analysis number. In this case I use a numeral number because it sorts by that number in the portal. I put 1.0. This is like an outline you would do for any kind of a project, where I put in the first thing that I thought of that was related to the course, and I put it under Course Manager, which is the actual product that we're using. And I gave a description. In this case, in the analysis description, it's more broader than what I put over here, as far as it only covers the basic information about this part, which is the analysis description. This is kind of a thing where you can put some notes, you can identify things that you're trying to cover or want to cover, and how it was derived and how this is put in there. So this is more for the instructor to think about what is actually going to go in the instruction as far as the analysis description. Now, if I were on a website and I wanted to take the information, I would go ahead and sweep that information on the website and paste it in here, and then I describe where I got it, as far as where that information came from and what purpose is it going to serve. So it might be one paragraph or a series of paragraphs. Now, when you're adding information into the analysis, it should be about the subject that you put in your topic number. For example, if I'm going to do Course Manager, I'm going to be discussing the Course Manager in here. If I were doing something else next, I would be, say, like the systematic approach, which is a part of the ISD approach, and it describes what that's going to be covering. And then in detail, I break it down so that you can see that information in here. The next thing I would do is continue through until I got a breakpoint. And what a breakpoint is where you continue about a subject until you get to a new leading subject. And in this case, I've got the 2.0, where I changed the grouping to a new section, and now I'm saying using the Course Manager. This is explaining background, and then this is actually using it. And then what I'm doing is I'm actually going through each screen and explaining in here things about those screens. Now what this does, if you consider what's going on in the analysis, I'm making notes here about what I'm trying to accomplish, and then I'm coming over here and I'm spelling out the logic and how it's actually used. So I can use both of these pieces of information, both in the analysis. This is giving me background, this is giving me the information I want to actually use in the course. So this goes through all the way through, and in this case I've given some examples all the way through grammar, and I'm testing grammar. And what I'm doing in here, this might interest everybody, is I actually wrote out text in this area where I'm doing an experiment, and I'm showing you that I want to experiment where I'm adding text to speech information, where up here you can run the actual speech. For example, if I click in here and click this button on a Macintosh only, it will actually say that information. And when it says it, there's a speech to talk. Basically, you can talk or speech, and what it'll do is it'll record that information. Now that is built in on the Mac computer, and it's part of the operating system. You can do it, but it's a little slow. So I use another product called Dragon, and what Dragon does is it allows me to speak almost at this rate that I'm talking, and it'll actually put that information in there almost as fast as I talk. And then what I do is I say, for example, any of the punctuation or comma or a period, an exclamation mark, I have to put that in there. But what it does, it greatly speeds the amount of information I can add. And what I've done on this side is this is part of an ongoing test where this is in English and this is in Spanish. And for example, I'm going to go ahead and click on this just so you can hear it run. And it's going to take me a second to set this up. Hold on.
Hala se trata de un experimento en el que me voy a liberar el texto en voz y traducirlo en lenguaje diferente. Entonces me voy a liberar el texto traducido y tener mi Macintosh habla ese idioma. El concepto es que el texto traducido pudo no tener la gramática correcta. El texto en el siguiente será el texto traducido. ¿Pudo alguien hable español? Hagamelo saber si la gramática es correcta.
Now, if you were one of the students and I wanted to use this, or you are the person that wants to use it, can you see the option that you have here? You have the option to use different languages. I'm using Google Translate, which is part of Google Chrome, and what it does is it brings up a website that you can copy this information here and then paste it into Google Translate, and it'll translate it into whatever language you want to use. So you can see the potential for adding a comment here or putting it in a language that you want to use. Maybe you want to produce this course in French or Spanish or German. You can actually do that by translating the information and then showing what language it's in. What I would do is I would go ahead and, for example, put Espanol in front of this and put colon and then put this in there, and that way if I was building the course I could do multilingual information as far as what's going to go into the course. Now that's opening up some options for the people that are doing Udemy courses where you want to be able to put it in different languages. Now I said this is an experiment, so we're just now testing to see if the grammar is correct and its pronunciation is understandable. And I've put it out on the web for people to read this and then get back to me. As at this point, I would think it's probably going to work just fine, and it should be able to be presented and give you the information that we're looking for in multilingual. So that offers a new feature that was just added actually in the last few days on this course. As we go along, I'm going to be adding other features and functions that I'd like to have added to this system and present those. Okay, if you have any questions, you can contact me through ontargetsolutions.biz, and that's www.ontargetsolutions.biz, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about that particular information. This completes the course analysis as far as this screen is concerned. I'm going to jump over and I'm going to show you the next screen, and that is the course analysis portal. And the way this works, in order to go view something on an individual record, for example, I would just click the portal. Now just below the portal, I skipped this and I'm coming back to it, is there for each block of text that you have in here, you also have the ability to add an image. If there's something that you found on the web or in a book or whatever, you can take a screenshot of it or use your camera to take a picture of it, and then you can paste it directly in here. And the way you do that is you just click on it, either paste it, or you say insert, and yes, you can actually even add QuickTime videos if you wanted to. I don't suggest you do that because it's going to take a lot of your space on your application and really blow it up as far as the size is concerned. If you want to do that, I would suggest what you do is actually put the URL in your text block where you want to reference something, and then again on your main menu, and I'm going to get out of here, on the main menu you can go to application, go down to website, click here, and then reference that website and actually show the actual website, because that's what it'll be able to do. There's a listing and a clickable that you can click on for the URL you add that will take you to that website so you can see it at any time you need to within this application. Okay, now portals, we were just talking about that. Portal will actually show you the portal screen and in larger format so you can actually read it easier, and then you can scroll quite a bit easier and see what's going on as far as the actual text in the screen. Now you have to click in it, or if you're on the iPad you would scroll it. Now in here I can either scroll it on this, or I can just use the regular scroll that's built into your Mac or your PC. And once again, if you have a Macintosh, you can click this speak, and what it'll do is it'll actually speak this information so you can listen to it and see what it actually sounds like, so that you can see that it what it does as far as if you're doing instruction, does the information sound clear and concise with the computer voice. You'd be surprised, but you're going to be able to pick up a lot of little things that are going on in your speech that not be exactly correct. For example, you might accidentally put the instead of that. Now when I'm dictating, like I'm doing right now to this video, and I'm using drag and dictate, there's a good chance it'll substitute words that I don't want in there or something else that I don't want. So I play it back and listen to it to make sure that I do my testing on it, that it does sound correct. Okay, so this is the second part of the analysis screens, which is the analysis portal, and it's listed at the top of the screen here so you can see it. Now if you have any questions about how this functions, please get in contact with me. And also, by the way, before I leave, the images also, you can pop it up in the individual portal, and obviously you can see what course topic number you're actually working in. Thank you for watching this video.